Welcome to Core Picks. My name is Gerard, and today we're going to be doing my confident picks for UFC Fight Night Paris, Moicano versus Saint Denis. Now, before we do that, let's recap a little bit of UFC 306 a couple weeks ago. Not that great. We did have one good play in our best bets video by Alex, Valentina Shevchenko, underdog. That one hit. Now, the Odie Osborne pick, me personally, I wasn't on that pick. That was Alex and James. I got outvoted on that one. Lazy boy got it. Got the win in that fight, Luis Rodriguez. Now, this three-leg pick, Van to win, over 2.5. Rosas Jr. to win at -101. That was a good three-leg play there. Now, this one I wasn't a big fan of. I was on the Norma Dumont side on this two-leg parlay. Aldana and Yasmin with the bet on that one, so not a good two-leg parlay there. This one was my fault. Manuel Torres, I thought that he would be dangerous enough to overshadow his recklessness, but his recklessness showed out and ended up getting finished in that first round. But yeah, this three-leg was going to be a +202 to win, but wasn't able to cash in on the Diego Lopez and Raul Rosas legs there. Another three-leg here that missed because of Yasmin. I didn't like Yasmin at -465 or -525. I think I wouldn't have paid that price personally, but got outvoted there. And this was my fault. This was my pick. I put half a unit on this play with Lazy Boy Rodriguez, Sean O'Malley, and Raul Rosas three-leg for +227. O'Malley was a bad play on me. I risked only half a unit, but we could have put other fighters in this spot here instead of O'Malley. But you live and you learn. Down 2.45 units on UFC 306. But as always, we're looking to bounce back. And we usually do bounce back after losses like these. So let's move on to UFC Paris, Moicano versus Saint Denis. Now on this card, my first confident pick is going to be none other than Ailín Pérez going up against Darya. Now in this fight, Ailín's stand-up isn't that bad, and she doesn't take too much damage in her stand-up. As you can see, significant strikes. She absorbs 1.35. Well, I think these names are kind of messed up, but less than two strikes landed on them per minute. In this fight, I mean, Eileen's bread and butter obviously is going to be her domination in the grappling, getting the takedowns and controlling positions and incorporating some ground and pound, possibly finding a submission. But I think she'll be able to use that position grappling in this fight. I think she'll be able to take full advantage despite the size advantage that Darya will have. Melissa Mullins was able to ground and pound KO finish Darya, and I think Ailín Pérez is better than Melissa Mullins, more experience and just better overall MMA experience and skills. Yeah, I think Darya, she's gonna be the longer striker here. And she didn't impress me in her last fight against Rendon, who I thought Rendon early on was really getting to Darya in the stand-up, in the striking, and as well as taking Darya down pretty easily early on as well. But Darya was able to get the decision in that fight, and I think Ailín is just going to be way better than Rendon in this fight. And she's just going to be on another level. And I think Ailín has a path to dominate with the grappling. And I do believe we will see some twerking post-fight. So that's going to be my pick there, Ailín Pérez. And for my, moving on to my second confident pick, is going to be in the main event, main card. I'm going to be going with Nassourdine Imavov going up against Brendan Allen. I believe that clearly Imavov is going to be the better striker here in this fight for 5 rounds if it goes to that. Brendan Allen was looking vulnerable against Chris Curtis in his last fight. Me personally, I thought that Brendan Allen was almost nearly going to be losing that fight against Chris Curtis. Imavov, he has solid grappling. He has that French defense pedigree, which avoids any bad mistakes in an MMA fight. And I think Imavov will be able to avoid getting caught from Allen's grappling or striking in this fight. And he has a path to make this fight look easy if he stays away from the danger, like a true Frenchman stays away from the danger from any finishes here. And as for Brendan Allen, he has been more well-rounded since coming into the UFC. He has more solid overall MMA skill set. His bread and butter is that submission game, that grappling, but I didn't see enough from that Chris Curtis fight to warrant me to believing that he has enough in his pocket to beat an Imavov in France. And nearly losing to Chris Curtis, an aging Chris Curtis, though Chris Curtis is still good even at his age. I see Imavov winning this fight either by finish or points. Not too sure how it will play out, but I'm fairly confident that Imavov has enough to beat Brendan Allen here in France. And as for my second most confident pick, Moicano versus Saint Denis. Now, I'm a Moicano fan. I can't hide it. I'm always game for an upset. Moicano's always game for an upset. He's one of my favorite underdogs to play, but I think this is a tall task to pull out another upset against Benoit Saint Denis in France. Saint Denis looking to bounce back from that last loss, and he didn't look like his best in that fight. He might have had lingering issues with staph infection. The thing is, I still think even with the staph infection, that version of Benoit Saint Denis would have still beaten Moicano. I think that even with those lingered state of maybe bad fatigue, bad cardio in that fight, I think had he fought Moicano in that fight, I think Benoit Saint Denis would have won still. Maybe even finished Moicano in the first round. In that Dustin fight, I think Dustin, he just had that better survivability and that danger factor in the pocket, in exchanges. You do not want to be in exchanges in the mid-range, in the pocket against Dustin the Diamond. So that was bad recipe for disaster for Benoit to be in, trying to trade in the pocket in the inside against against the Diamond Poirier. So I think even a slightly better Benoit Saint Denis in Paris would be able to beat a Moicano here. And he just needs to avoid not being reckless and get submitted by Moicano's dangerous submission game. So my pick here is Benoit Saint Denis. I'm leaning towards a finish, but you never know in these main event fights tend to surprise us a little bit. Oh yeah, before I do that, let's look at the odds. Let's look at the odds here. Benoit Saint Denis open up as a -300, bet up down to a -210, now back at a -275. So a lot of action on Benoit Saint Denis' part, fluctuating for money Moicano. As for the Imavov fight, Brendan Allen started off as a plus 130, bet all the way down to a plus 180, went as high as a plus 205. Imavov has slowly became a bigger and bigger favorite, went as low as a minus 240, bet back to a minus 210. Now, as for the Ailín Pérez fight, Darya opened up as a plus 160, bet as high as a plus 230. Now is settling around a plus 197, plus 190 area. And as for Ailín Pérez opened up as a minus 270, maybe minus 185, and has bet all the way down to a minus 232, minus 230 range. So those are my three most confident picks on this card: Ailín Pérez, Nassourdine Imavov, and Benoit Saint Denis. And we're looking to bounce back. Let's get in that green. Pure picks. Let's go.